In last lecture, we have talked about memory again, and also have briefly mentioned ASCII encoding. So what to take from the previous lecture is that everything what you can see are binary data, and the text you see is just some type of encoding. It can be ASCII encoding, or it can be UTF encoding, and so on. Okay, let's continue in this lecture. I would like to show you one more example of storing data into the memory, and then we can continue with our smart contract, our Faucet smart contract. Okay, so let's stay here in the Remix and let's work on our test function. What I will do here, as the example, I will store here different free memory pointer. So free memory pointer is set to be at the position 0x90. Let's store here at a different position, and I will store here D2. That's the position of the 210th bit. Let's verify it. So let's go to hexadecimal. Let's get here D2 or 0xD2, doesn't really matter. Okay, convert it, and you will see it's a 210 bit. So here we'll be storing our values in the memory, our array items. Okay, let's see how it will look. Let's save it. Let's of course compile it. Go to compiler, compile. Go to previous, to deploy the deploy menu. Let's clear your previous contract, deploy, and call now function test. And don't forget to provide a value because that's what we are specifying. Let's create a transaction. So click here on a test, and here is your transaction. Let's click here debug because I want to see what I have in the memory. So click debug, and please let's click on this line here on data. So the last line. So memory will be already set. Click here data, and let's step into the next debugger like this. And now you can see your memory, and here are your values. You can see the value 1 is now here. All right, the value 2 is here, and value 3 is here. So you can see it's not in the end, but it's somewhere here on the beginning. So why is that? This like this because I am not storing this in the offset of 32 bytes, okay? Because usually it would specify I would like to store the value of the 0x90 or 0xe0 and so on, but I specified my offset somewhere in the middle or somewhere in the beginning of this offset. Okay, I will draw here so it's more clear what's happening here. Let's inspect it on this value 1, for example, here. Okay, so what are my byte offsets? So here we are starting. Here is starting my 16th byte offset. So here it's from a 16 to 32, right? So what you see here. So I will write here, this is a 16th. Okay, so 60th is 32 byte offset. Here is 48. Okay, here is 50 or 60, 64. Here is 7. Here is plus 16. Here is 80. Here is 80, here is a 96, here is a 112. 112, you can see incrementation of the 16 bytes. Okay, 112, 128, 144, okay, 160, 176, 176. Here is an offset of 192. Here's an offset of 208. Here is an offset of 224. Here is an offset of 240, and I think now we can stop here. Let's take a look at the offset of 208. We have specified that we are storing it 210, right? So that's 210, so that's a D2 in the hexadecimal. So here's a 208, and these 2 bytes, they're saying this is offset of 209, because these 2 hexadecimal characters specifying 1 byte. So there is a 209 in this first position. The second position here is a 210. Okay, so we are storing it here. We are starting our offset here of the first item of 210. That's where we are storing the free memory pointer. So free memory pointer is pointing here. Here's a 210. I hope it's visible for you. 210. And now we are taking offset of 32 bytes. So 32 bytes, so here is a 16 plus another 16. You can see it's exactly in the 32 byte offset. So here, exactly in the 32 byte offset. Okay? So everything is matching. Here is the first item. The second item is again in the offset of 32 bytes. So, here is again, we're going 32 bytes offset. So you can see here, the number of 2 is exactly 32 bytes away. So here is a 32 byte offset. Here is number 2, and the 3 will be there again in 32 byte offset. So you can see here, as you have it, starting from here at the 0 position, you are going to 16 bytes to the right, and here's the first offset byte 0x10, which is 16 bytes. Okay, here's the 32, and so on and so on, until you will reach the 200, until you will reach 208, and then you will just count 2 bytes to 210, and then 32 byte offset where you will store your value. So basically, you are storing your value here in this offset of bytes. Okay, like this. So basically, the offset of your bytes you're storing is 209, 210. So this offset here, as you can see. Okay, so this is the offset of bytes you are storing your value. This is the chunk of bytes here, 32. I hope it's visible for you, but you got a point, right? So here is here we are starting. Here is a free memory pointer is pointing here. We are taking the chunk of 32 bytes, and we are storing this value there. Okay, 32 bytes away, the value 2. Okay, so that's what I want to show. If you have any questions, keep asking, of course, if something is not clear. We will leave it here. I guess we have covered quite a lot of topics, and we went really into the details of the memory, so we'll leave it here, and let's continue with our Faucet smart contract in the next one. Cheers.